Most people don't lose arguments because they're wrong. They lose because the moment pressure shows up, their emotions take the wheel. Think about the last time you saw someone who was absolutely right lose. They had proof. They had logic. They had the better point. But as soon as things got heated, you watched them fall apart. Their voice jumped an octave. Their words started tripping over each other. They talked faster. Their hands flew around. Their face tightened up. And instantly, the energy in the room shifted. Nobody was thinking, wow, their argument is solid. They were thinking, something's off. I don't trust this. Every confrontation you face is a test. Not a test of how smart you are or how many facts you memorized. It's a test of control. Can you stay grounded when someone attacks your idea? Can you think clearly while your heart is pounding? Can you speak slowly and calmly when every part of you wants to snap, defend, and explode? If you can, you win, not just the argument. You win people's respect, you win their trust, and little by little, you gain power. Machiavelli understood something most people still don't get. Power doesn't belong to the loudest person in the room. It belongs to the person who stays calm when everyone else falls apart. He spent his life watching rulers, generals, and politicians. He saw entire empires rise and collapse. And his conclusion was brutal but simple. If you can't govern yourself, you will never truly govern anything else. In this video, we're going to break down how to stay unshaken in any confrontation. You'll see how your body betrays you in seconds, how people read you before you say a single word, and how you can flip tension into an advantage instead of a weakness. But first, do this with me quietly, in your mind or out loud if you can. I stay unshaken. Say it again, and actually mean it, because by the time we're done, you'll understand why that sentence is more powerful than any clever comeback you could ever think of. 1. People trust steadiness, not excuses. Here's the first big misconception most people have. They think confrontations are won with the perfect words. So they rehearse speeches in their head. They prepare their defense. They line up every fact like weapons in a row. Then, the real moment comes. The pressure hits. And even though the words are ready, their body betrays them. Because in heated moments, people are not listening to you the way you think they are. They're scanning you. They're watching your eyes. They're noticing your hands. They're feeling your energy. How steady is your voice? How relaxed is your face? How controlled is your breathing? Based on those tiny signals, they make a split-second judgment about you. Do I trust this person? Do they seem solid? Do they look like they're hiding something? Machiavelli wrote, "Men are governed by appearances as much as by reality." He didn't say appearance counts a little bit. He put it on the same level as reality. In a confrontation, how you look under pressure is just as important as whether you're actually right. Picture two people arguing. One of them has every fact on their side, but their voice shakes. They avoid eye contact. They're fidgeting. The other person is only half right, but they speak slowly. They keep eye contact. Their posture is solid. Their breathing is calm. Who feels more believable to you? Every instinct in you points to the calm one. Because calmness signals, this person knows something. This person is in control. Meanwhile, nervousness signals, this person isn't sure. This person doesn't even fully believe themselves. You can have the truth in your pocket and still lose because you couldn't control your delivery. That's why preparation is not just about what you're going to say. It's about how you're going to show up. When someone challenges you, your first job is not to explain yourself. Your first job is to stay steady. If your tone is calm, your body still, your face composed, people will give you time. They'll be patient with your answer. they'll lean in. But if you panic, if your energy spikes, they tune out even if your logic is flawless. Think about a job interview. You get a question you didn't expect. Option 1. You panic. You rush your answer, stumble over words, talk just to fill the silence. Your voice climbs higher and higher. You see it in their eyes, they're gone. You lost them. Option 2. You pause. You breathe. You look the interviewer in the eye and say, "That's a really good question. Let me think about that for a second." Then you actually take that second, calmly. Who gets the job? Almost always the second person. Not because their answer was perfect, but because their presence was strong. This applies everywhere. Fights with your partner, tense talks with your boss, public criticism, family drama. Your logic matters less than your composure. Your words matter less than your presence. Stay steady, and people will trust you even when they disagree. Stay steady, and you quietly control the room even if you don't have every answer yet. Steadiness is trust. Nervousness is doubt. And in any confrontation, people don't side with whoever is right. They side with whoever feels solid. Now let's get practical. Because saying, "Stay calm," is easy. Staying calm when your heart is punching your ribs from the inside, that's different. In any confrontation, people scan your body before they process your words, and your body almost always tells the truth. You can say, "I'm fine." But if your hands are shaking and your eyes keep darting around the room, nobody believes you. Your body is a billboard for your internal state, and most people can read it in under 3 seconds. Shaking hands signal nervousness. Restless eyes signal insecurity. A rushed voice signals panic. Crossed arms signal defensiveness. Every shift in posture, every twitch, every change in tone becomes data. People use that data consciously or not to decide whether to respect you or dismiss you. Machiavelli said, "Men judge more by the eye than by the hand." What they see in your composure matters more than what you claim with your words. So if you want to stay unshaken, you don't start with your thoughts. You start with your body. Most people get this backwards. They try to think themselves calm. It's fine. Don't get mad. Relax, relax, relax. But when you're already triggered, your nervous system doesn't care about positive self-talk. It's like trying to stop a speeding train with a sticky note. Your brain actually takes cues from your body. If your body acts like you're in danger, your brain believes, "We're in danger." If your body acts like you're safe, your brain starts to settle. So we flip the script. Control the body, and the mind will follow. There are 3 levers you can grab immediately. 1. Your breathing. When you're stressed, your breathing goes shallow and fast. You breathe from your chest instead of your belly. That signals to your brain, emergency, survival mode. When that happens, your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logic and reasoning, starts to shut down. Your amygdala, the fear center, takes over. That's why people say dumb things in arguments they later regret. Their scared brain was driving, not their smart brain. So the moment you feel heat rising, do this quietly. Inhale slowly through your nose. Let your belly expand, not your chest. Exhale slowly through your mouth. Repeat this a few times slower than feels natural. Your heart rate drops. Your nervous system gets the message, "We're not in danger." Your brain comes back online. Now you can think. 2. Your posture. Stand or sit like someone who is in control, not arrogant, just solid. If you're standing, feet shoulder-width apart. Don't rock back and forth. Keep your weight evenly grounded. If you're sitting, sit up straight without being stiff. Shoulders relaxed, not slumped. Both feet planted, not constantly shifting. And your hands? Keep them visible and still. No tapping, no fiddling with your phone, no playing with your hair, your pen, your shirt. Every unnecessary movement screams, "I'm nervous." Place your hands loosely on the table, on your lap, or by your sides. Controlled, relaxed, deliberate. Not only does this look calm to others, it also feels calm to you. Your brain sees your body holding steady and says, "Okay, maybe we're actually okay." 3. Your voice. When you're nervous or angry, your voice speeds up and rises in pitch. Sometimes you even get louder without realizing it, or weirdly quieter. You rush your sentences because you're afraid you'll lose your courage if you pause. The moment your voice shifts like that, trust drops. So, here's the rule. Talk at about 70% of your normal speed. Lower your pitch just a little. Keep your volume even, and don't be afraid of silence. If you need a moment, take it. No nervous, no fake laugh to fill the gap. Just pause. Let the silence sit there. Silence makes other people uncomfortable. And when they're uncomfortable, they start talking. And when they start talking, you regain control. A calm, measured voice makes people lean in. It makes you sound like you know something they don't. And here's the fun part. Your calm body language doesn't just stabilize you, it destabilizes the other person. When somebody is raised, tense, and emotional, and you're steady, slow, and unbothered, their brain starts glitching. They expected you to match their chaos. When you don't, they feel off balance. Why aren't they reacting? Why are they so calm? Do they know something I don't? In that moment, without raising your voice, you've taken the upper hand. Machiavelli knew this. Whoever controls their body controls the situation. Power isn't about aggression, it's about presence. Slow your breathing, steady your posture, measure your voice, master your body, and your mind will follow. Master both, and you become very hard to shake. Now we go deeper into the part that ruins most people in confrontations. Taking things personally. Someone questions your competence. Someone criticizes your idea in front of others. Someone throws a subtle insult that lands harder than it looks. You feel it instantly in your chest, your stomach, your jaw. Heat, tightness. That inner voice screaming, "How dare they?" From that moment on, you're not thinking clearly anymore. You're not strategic. You're not focused on the long game. You're just trying to protect your ego right now. And that's when you start losing. The moment you make it personal, you stop being effective. You stop seeing the big picture. You stop playing chess and start swinging wildly, just to win the moment. This is where detachment becomes a superpower. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It means you refuse to let your emotions hijack your brain when you need it most. It's the ability to mentally step back, even in the middle of a heated moment, and view the situation from the outside, not from inside the wound. Machiavelli said, "A wise man acts as he must, not as he feels." That's detachment in one sentence. Not what makes you feel better, not what satisfies your pride, what actually gets you the outcome you want. Let's put this into a real scenario. You're in a meeting. You've spent weeks on a project. You present it. You're proud of it. And then someone, let's call him David, tears into it in front of everyone. "I don't think this will work. This seems unrealistic. We've tried things like this before." You now have two paths. Path 1, you take it personally. Your face tightens. Your voice sharpens. "Actually, David, if you'd read the full proposal, you'd see I covered that. This is nothing like what we did before." You might be right, but now the room feels tense. people are uncomfortable. David doubles down because you attacked him publicly. Even if your idea is solid, you look emotional and defensive. You didn't just defend your project, you damaged your presence. Path 2. You detach. You decide, this is not about my worth. This is information. So you pause. You nod slowly. That's a fair concern, David. What specifically do you think wouldn't work? Let's dig into that. Now everything changes. The room relaxes. You look composed and confident. You're not here to protect your ego. You're here to find the best answer. Either David brings up real issues, which helps you improve the idea, or he realizes he doesn't have much behind his criticism and backs off. Either way, you win, not by attacking, by staying detached. Detachment also saves you from saying things you'll regret. How many times have you said something harsh in the heat of the moment, then replayed it in your head for days, wishing you could erase it? That happens because you weren't detached. You were inside your anger, letting it speak for you. Once words leave your mouth, there is no undo button. You can apologize, but you can't erase the impression. Detachment gives you space. Space to choose your words. Space to ask, will what I'm about to say help me, or just feel good for 10 seconds and cost me later? Most of the time, if you're honest, it would hurt you, so you don't say it. Instead, you respond instead of react. Another example, someone insults you, questions your intelligence, disrespects you in front of others. Your ego wants war. You want to snap back, humiliate them, put them in their place. But if you're detached, you see the game. You realize, this person wants me to lose control. They want me to look bad. They're trying to drag me down so we both look messy. If you react, they win. If you stay calm, they lose. So instead, you look at them and say, that's an interesting perspective, or noted, or you're entitled to your opinion. Then you move on. You don't give them the show they wanted. You don't let them rent space in your nervous system. Now they look emotional, petty, and insecure. And you look unshaken. Machiavelli knew, whoever controls their emotions controls the outcome. Detachment creates clarity. Clarity creates better choices. Better choices create better results. So next time you feel that spike of anger or hurt, don't try to pretend it's not there. Notice it. Breathe. Step back in your mind. Ask, what response serves my long-term power here? Then act as you must, not as you feel. That's how you stay unshaken. So far, we've treated calmness like armor, something that protects you. Now let's talk about calmness as a weapon. Because staying calm doesn't just stop you from losing. It actively increases your influence. Picture a room where everyone's voices are climbing. People are interrupting, talking over each other, getting red in the face. It's noise. Emotional chaos. And then there's you. You're not joining the frenzy. You're not rushing your words. You're not rolling your eyes, sighing, or clapping back. You're sitting or standing there grounded, steady, present. Immediately, you stand out. Not because you're loud, but because you're not. In chaos, calm becomes magnetic. Without realizing it, people start to orient themselves around you. They lower their voices when they talk to you. They look at you to see how you're reacting. They're drawn to the person who clearly isn't being controlled by the chaos. You quietly become the center of gravity in the room. This is where leverage begins. When you're calm in a heated situation, you send a subtle signal. I'm not afraid of this moment. This isn't shaking me. I'm not emotionally drowning like everyone else. And humans are wired to seek stability. When everything feels unstable, people follow whoever looks like they know what they're doing, or at least isn't panicking. Machiavelli understood that authority isn't just about titles or rank. Real authority is taken by the person whose presence commands the room. Think about arguments with your partner. If you stay calm while they're upset, you become the one who looks reasonable, even if you're partly wrong. Think about family drama. If you're the only one not yelling, not slamming doors, not throwing verbal grenades, you become the person people turn to afterward for clarity. Think about work. When others are freaking out over deadlines, complaints, or bad news, and you remain composed, your boss starts seeing you as leadership material. This doesn't mean you're manipulating anyone. It means you understand how people work. People trust the person who looks like they can handle pressure. Calmness also creates an illusion in a good way. It makes you look more competent than you might feel inside. If you're calm, people assume you know what you're doing. If you look shaken, they assume you don't. Once they see you as the stable one, they invite you into more decisions. They ask for your opinion. They defer to your judgment. That's leverage. With that leverage, you can de-escalate situations nobody else can. You can say things like, "Let's slow down for a second. Can we all take a breath and look at this differently? Okay, one at a time. Let's figure out the real issue here." And people actually listen, not because you shouted louder, but because you didn't. Machiavelli wrote endlessly about the power of perception. He knew that a prince who appears strong is treated as strong, even if he doubts himself. A leader who appears calm is trusted, even if internally he's working it out as he goes. People don't just react to facts. They react to how you feel in the moment. If you feel like the anchor, they treat you like the anchor. Here's a real-world example. You're in a heated argument with someone you care about, a partner, friend, or sibling. They're emotional. They say things that sting. They bring up old wounds. Your instinct is to hit back, to throw your own daggers, to defend, to correct, to win. Instead, you breathe. You listen. You let them finish without interrupting. You keep your voice low and steady. At first, they might keep pushing, but eventually, your calm starts to work on them. Nobody likes being the only person in the room who's out of control, so they start to soften. Their voice levels out. They slow down. And only then can the real conversation start, the one where problems are actually solved instead of just traded like weapons. That's calmness as leverage, not over them, but with them. You're not dominating the other person. You're guiding the moment. Calm doesn't just protect you. It changes the entire dynamic. When the room gets hot, your job is not to out-heat everyone. Your job is to be the cold water. Be the calm in the storm, and watch how fast the storm starts moving around you instead of through you. Anyone can stay calm once. Anyone can hold composure for a moment or two. But true mastery begins when calm becomes your default state. When no matter what's happening, who's challenging you, or how chaotic things get, you remain unshaken. That's when calmness stops being a performance and turns into identity. And once that happens, you stop reacting to life. You start directing it. Most people build their reputation around what they say. But the world doesn't judge you by your words. It judges you by your reactions, especially when the pressure is high. Anyone can sound wise when they're comfortable. But the second things get tense, the real truth comes out. That's why every confrontation, every heated moment, every argument isn't just a conversation. It's a silent test. People are asking, can you handle pressure? And your body, your voice, your timing answers for you long before your words do. If you crumble once, they remember. If you explode, they remember. Even if you stay calm 10 times after, that one moment of chaos sticks. Because people remember extremes, not averages. And when they think of you, they remember the time you lost it, not the times you didn't. That's why consistency is power. Calmness is credibility, and credibility compounds over time. When people see that no matter what happens, you never lose control, they start to trust you differently. They see you as reliable, stable, composed. And that kind of reputation opens doors no amount of talking ever could. Think about the calmest person you know. The one who never seems rushed, never overreacts, never raises their voice. How do people behave around them? They speak more carefully. They avoid drama. They treat that person with quiet respect. Now think about someone who's always emotional, snapping at others, stressing out, reacting to every small thing. Do people respect them? Usually not. They might get sympathy, but not trust. They might get attention, but not influence. Because people don't trust instability. They trust what's consistent. And this is what Machiavelli understood about leadership. He wrote that a ruler who constantly changes his tone, kind one day, cruel the next, creates confusion. And confusion destroys loyalty. People follow stability. They follow those who are predictable in their strength. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. If you're calm once, people assume you got lucky. If you're calm every time, people assume it's who you are. And that's the goal, to make composure your natural state, to make steadiness your signature. Because when you do, everything changes. People stop testing you. They stop trying to provoke you. They stop treating you like everyone else. Why? Because they've learned it doesn't work. They can't throw you off balance. They can't manipulate your emotions. They can't make you react on their terms. You've trained them, without a word, that you're not easily moved. And in a world full of emotional instability, that alone gives you power. The early stages of building this reputation are the hardest. People will challenge you, especially those who feed off reaction. They'll poke, mock, and provoke, just to see if you'll finally crack. They'll try to pull you into emotional games because that's where they win. But your job is to make those games impossible. You don't fight their chaos, you let it exhaust itself. You stand still while they spin out. The longer you maintain composure, the faster they lose power over you. Because people can only control what they can shake. And when they realize they can't shake you, they move on. That's when you know you've crossed the threshold. From someone trying to control themselves to someone who is in control. So what does this look like in practice? It looks like pausing before you reply. It looks like breathing before you speak. It looks like refusing to defend your ego when you're insulted. It's in the small moments, when someone cuts you off in traffic, when a coworker criticizes your idea, when your partner says something sharp, and instead of reacting, you observe. You watch your own emotions rise, but you don't ride them. You speak less. You move slower. You hold steady. Over time, those micro-decisions stack. You become the one person who doesn't get swept away by noise. And people notice. They might not say it out loud, but they feel it. Something about this person feels different. That feeling is respect. And here's what happens next. The more consistently calm you become, the more your reputation begins to work for you. You no longer need to prove your point in every argument. You no longer need to shout to be heard. You no longer need to remind people who you are. Your steadiness speaks louder than your words ever could. In meetings, people look to you when things go wrong. In conflict, your silence commands more attention than others' noise. At home, your calmness becomes the emotional anchor everyone relies on. And without even trying, you gain leverage. Because when emotions rise, people follow whoever stays level. That's leadership. That's influence. But let's be honest. Staying calm doesn't mean you don't feel anger, fear, or frustration. You still feel them. You just don't act from them. You learn to separate emotion from execution. You can think, I'm furious right now. but still speak like a strategist. You can feel insulted and still choose silence. You can burn inside, but move like water outside. That's not suppression. It's control. And control doesn't make you weak. It makes you dangerous, because the one who can feel deeply but remain steady is always the one who wins. But here's the warning. Your consistency must be protected. One outburst, one emotional breakdown in the wrong moment can undo months of earned credibility. It's unfair, but it's true. People remember explosion more than they remember calm. They'll forget all the times you were collected, but they'll replay that one time you weren't. So you have to decide what kind of person you're going to be, not occasionally, but permanently. Will you be the person who lets others dictate your energy, or will you be the person who sets the tone everywhere you go? Once you make that decision, commit to it fully, because when calmness becomes your constant, it starts shaping how people behave before they even speak to you. They adjust their tone. They choose their words carefully. They respect you without realizing why. That's not coincidence. That's conditioning. You've trained the world to meet you at your level of composure. Machiavelli once said it's better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. But there's something even more powerful than either: to be respected. Fear fades when the threat is gone. Love fades when emotions shift. But respect for the person who never loses themselves, that endures. When you're unshakable, people might not love you. They might not even like you, but they trust you. They depend on you. They know no matter what, you'll keep your head when others lose theirs. And that kind of consistency becomes priceless. In the end, being calm isn't about silence. It's about signal. Your steadiness sends a message louder than words ever could. I am not ruled by emotion. I am ruled by intention. And when that becomes your way of living, people stop seeing you as just another person. They see you as a force. Calm becomes your weapon. Consistency becomes your armor. Reputation becomes your shield. So remember this: you don't need to be the loudest, the smartest, or the strongest. You just need to be the one who doesn't break. Because over time, that alone makes you untouchable. So take this lesson and live it. Practice it in the small moments. When someone talks down to you, when life hits hard, when emotions rise, breathe slower, speak less. Hold your posture. Detach. Each time you do, you're not just controlling the moment. You're crafting your identity. And one day, you'll realize you no longer have to try to stay calm. You simply are calm. That's when the world starts moving differently around you. Because true power doesn't shout. It doesn't tremble. It doesn't chase control. It is control. And when you embody that, every room, every conflict, every person quietly bends to you.